everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Ursula Rosa. I'm with the Campaign for New York Health. And soy Úrsula Rosum, soy la codirectora de la campaña de salud Nueva York. Estamos aquí para exigir nuestros derechos a la vivienda y a la atención médica, que son derechos humanos para todos. I want to welcome up our first speaker, who is the lead sponsor of the New York Health Act in the State Assembly, Health Committee Chair, Assembly Member Dick Godfrey.
Good morning. Hey, thank you all for coming to our Albany Capitol here. We've got a lot of work to do. You know, almost every problem we face in health and healthcare is made worse and harder to solve because of the crazy way we pay for healthcare. Every year in New York, almost half the people who have health coverage, either go without needed health care because they can't afford it or suffer financial hardship to get it. That's people who have health coverage because the health coverage we have in this country is so terrible. And nobody thinks that that's right. But the only plan on the table that can fix it is the New York Health Act. And that's why we are all here, so that Albany gets the message. We need to pass the New York Health Act this year before the end of session. Let's get it done. Thank you all for coming.
And next up, I want to call up another leader in the movement for health justice with the New York State Nurses Association, Jennifer Bejo. Jennifer is an RN at Albany Medical Center and president of her local bargaining unit.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jennifer Bejo. I am an ICU nurse at Albany Medical Center Hospital. As an ICU nurse working at the front lines during the COVID pandemic, my colleagues and I have experienced the failures of our healthcare system to meet our needs and keep us healthy. But this is an old problem that has been exacerbated these past 2 years. Black, brown, and low-income New Yorkers carry the greatest burden of exposure to sickness, serving as essential workers, and fewer having the access to quality health care. Meanwhile, private health insurance corporations continue to make record profits at the expense of the community, continuing to capitalize on the pandemic, while our frontliners are in dire need for more support, better staffing, and proper equipment. But you know we have a solution. The New York Health Act is the solution. Yes. Why do we say that? The New York Health Act establishes the right to health care by removing the financial and insurance barriers that keep healthcare segregated and unequal. It will also contribute to higher rates of preventable illnesses in our vulnerable communities. As healthcare providers, nurses understand the value of having healthcare coverage because we know that access to healthcare is a fundamental human right. As nurses, we all know that it is about recognition and respect. Recognizing and respecting us as human beings who deserve proper treatment. And that's why we are all here, because we are ready and we have the power to exact that change. to push for that desperately needed health care justice for all. And today, we are demanding that our elected leaders take decisive action and pass the New York Health Act and protect our communities and save this messy and dysfunctional healthcare system that we are all in. You, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters in the union, people in New York, my fellow colleagues, nurses, you are all the major key to finally push the New York Health Act into law. Now, when do we need it? Now! When do we need it? Now! When do we need healthcare justice? Now! We need it now. Then let's go and do it. New York, let's get the job done. Thank you very much.
Let's hear it for our nurses! Next up, I am absolutely thrilled and honored to introduce two champions for housing justice who are the lead sponsors on the good cause eviction law, and by doing so are taking a stand for tenants across the state, Senator Julia Salazar and Assemblywoman Pam Hunter.
Good morning. We don't care about these little raindrops, right? We're out here for justice. Housing justice. Healthcare justice. When do we want it? We need it. Absolutely, we need it now. There's no time like the present to do the right thing for people relative to housing. We need quality, affordable housing. We're tired of calling code enforcement. We're tired of these astronomical rent increases. We need housing justice now. We need it right now, and we're not going to rest. We're not going to be intimidated by that $1.4 million being spent against all of us. We need housing justice, and we're fighting for it right now. If your assembly member or senator is not a co-sponsor, pick up that phone and call them. Let's go! You have no way if you're not a co-sponsor. They have housing injustice all over this state. We need changes. We want it right now.
Give it up for Assemblymember Hunter. Thank you so much. You know, I look around and this is just such a beautiful sight. I want to say this. They will make us and all of you feel small. They will make you feel weak. They will make you forget how powerful you are. But those of us who are fighting for health care, for our families, for workers across the state, and for housing as health care, we are the majority in this state. Together, we are the largest constituency in this state. And what makes me angry, what makes me so mad, is that despite that fact, that the majority of New Yorkers across the state want to see the New York Health Act become law, want to see good cause eviction become law, despite that fact, this hasn't happened. And what that tells me is that right now, the people are not running New York State. And that's wrong. We need to show everyone in power, including all of us here who have a responsibility to get these things done, who are legislators, we need to demonstrate that power and keep demanding this. Demanding that people no longer have to live in fear of eviction. Woo!
That's right.
That tenants, families who pay their rent every month should not live with housing insecurity and be afraid that next year their home won't be their home anymore. People should not be afraid to go to the doctor when they are sick or to call an ambulance because they can't afford the medical bills. These are basic rights, and we will not stop fighting until we get it done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator. When do we want it? When do we want it? All right, I'll pass it to my co-MC, Ursula.
Thank you so much. We have, I think what's really powerful is what Senator Salazar said, that these are bills that are extremely popular, not only with the public, but I think also with legislators. We have many champions for good cause in the New York Health Act, and I want to invite a few more of them up. Assemblywoman Kellis, Senator Rachel May, and Senator Clear. Please come on up.
This is so good. This is so good. Oh yeah, we did. I'm just gonna stand here and I'll talk. But I'm gonna speak from my heart because these bills are heart bills, all right? We're talking about both of them. I'm gonna talk about both because they're both deeply important to me. The first one, it's so important that everybody understands the value of the New York Health Act because it covers everything that we need to thrive. It covers mental health. It covers general health. It covers long-term care. It covers pharmaceuticals. It covers prosthetics. Not because we think we're special, but because that's what every single person here needs to thrive in their life. Right? I'm going to describe a story that was just shared with me from youth in my office. One of the youth was describing when he was in high school that his parents got divorced and there was no access to mental health. And his grades declined and he got angry and he isolated. And that one instance, because he did not have access to mental health, will follow him the rest of his life. That is not okay. That is not okay. That is what we're talking about, to allow every single person in every generation to be who they were meant to be and not have money and access to health care be that thing that holds them back from being who they were meant to be. You look at housing justice for all movement, thank you so much, because good cause, all it says is that we cannot allow predatory landlords to make housing all about their own personal wealth. That is not right. This is about making sure that everyone can stay in their home if they can afford that home. They can afford it, they should not have their lease taken out from underneath them. That is unacceptable. They have a right to renew their lease, they have a right to stay in their home. This is about preventing gentrification of all of our communities. That's it, that's all this is about. This is about keeping us in our homes. So thank you, these are both about basic human rights, and we need to pass them now for every single person standing here. Do y'all see this? Y'all see you beautiful people? Don't leave. Don't quiet your voices, because we need you. Like Senator Salazar said, you are this movement. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Anna. And I want to say, as Julia Salazar said, this is so beautiful. There's one sign here of all the signs that really spoke to me, and I don't see it right now, but it said, "Remember why you ran." Oh!
Yes.
I ran for the New York Health Act. I ran for healthcare justice. I ran for housing justice. I ran because in my city of Syracuse, 25% of families move every year, and a lot of that is because of housing instability. They are getting kicked out of their apartments. 10% of our high school students are functionally homeless.
Yep.
And what does that mean for our whole community? It means that kids aren't thriving in school. It means that parents can't keep a job. It means that there's worse public safety because people don't know their neighbors. Housing security security is crucial to our entire communities. And good cause eviction is about reminding landlords that this is not just a contract between them and their tenant. It's a contract with the whole community.
That's right.
People over profit.
So I am a proud co-sponsor of the Good Cause Eviction Bill. I also am a proud co-sponsor of the New York Health Act. And for the same reasons, when I was in my 20s, my husband was dying of cancer, and he said to me that he hoped he died sooner so that he wouldn't leave me with medical debt to carry for the rest of my life. Nobody should be thinking that way. Nobody should be having those kinds of conversations with their loved ones. We need a sensible way to pay for health care. As Assemblyman Gottfried said, what we do right now is hurting people. It's hurting the medical profession. It is making it harder for people to have healthy lives. And there is a pretty simple solution, and it is the New York Health Act. So thanks to everybody. And housing justice. When do we want it? Now! Thank you!
I'm honored to be out here today standing up for a cause that I believe in so deeply. I echo the words of my colleagues who spoke before me. My name is Senator Cordell Clear, and I represent Harlem, East Harlem, Albany, a portion of Washington Heights, and the Upper West Side. And I have seen those communities gentrified rapidly, people being displaced by the thousands.
That ain't right.
It ain't right.
That ain't right.
It ain't right. But today we're here about a housing issue and a health issue, but it's also a moral issue. We are liars and hypocrites when we say we want to solve the homeless problem while we're helping to create it. And for those of us who have been pushed out of our communities already, we don't want any more push out. And we want it to stop. We have to pass good cause evictions.
Yes.
Landlords are supposed to be our neighbors. Our city went through a pandemic. We all took a hit. Not them. They don't take a hit with us. They're not with us. If you're a part of this city, then you act like you're a part of this city. And you care about the residents. It is not right for you just to make profit. This is not just about you making your rent rolls. This is about other human beings in this city.
That's right.
And what's the point of you being here in your empty building by yourself? They're supposed to protect us. They're supposed to work with us, and we're supposed to have housing. Housing is a right. It's a right for those who can afford it, and it's a right for those who can't afford it. I support good cause eviction. We have to make sure that our tenants are protected. We have to make sure that everybody has health care.
Yes,
Health
ma'am.
care is a human right.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a
Human right. Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a
Human right. Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a
Human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight.
Y'all got it.
Housing is
A human right. Fight, fight, fight.
I don't want to take up all the time, but I join my colleagues, Senator Brisport, and all the others who are here today, and we are going to fight, fight, fight.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right.
Fight, fight, fight.
Thanks so much, y'all. I think the landlords can hear us.
Good stuff.
Next up, I'm going to bring up one of our coalition partners that are playing a key role in the fight for housing and healthcare justice, Pastor Tabitha Hawley, the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy.
Come on, girls. Bring it.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tabitha Holly, and I'm the pastor of New Day Church in the Northwest Bronx.
Woo! The Boogie Down Bronx!
Right. The majority of my parishioners live in the Northwest Bronx. I have pastored a church mainly in the context of a global pandemic. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
A public health crisis coupled with the assault on black life and black humanity.
Ouch!
If I were to be so bold, I would like to say that it has been the evils of racism and white supremacy that have caused communities like the Northwest Bronx to really suffer.
Preach!
2 years into what has been an ongoing crisis, not much has changed. Communities of faith are called to protect the marginalized and the vulnerable, to prophetically call forth God's justice in the land of the living. And on today, as we stand united for the health of our community, we get to think. We get to think about the interconnectedness of health and housing and public safety.
Go, girl.
2 years ago, many of our elected said Black Lives Matter. But in this legislative session, we get to see if Black lives really matter. Today and throughout this legislative session, we get to see if those who represent the most unhealthy county in the state truly care about our holistic wellness.
Ouch!
And how do we care? How do we care about our holistic wellness? By protecting tenants against unjust evictions. How do we care about holistic wellness? We think about unreasonable rent increases and we say no more.
That's right.
We think about our holistic wellness by allowing our tenants to stay in their homes, by protecting our friends on the streets, battling mental health issues and addictions. We need the New York Health Act.
Yes, yes, yes,
We do
yes.
need the New York Health Act, but there's a whole lot more today. Because if we were to be honest, we would say, how can we have good health when we're worried about being evicted?
Ouch!
How can we have good health when developers and real estate companies can come in and displace us?
Talk about it!
How can we have good health when black and brown students are being pushed out of school?
Preach!
How can we have good health when the issues that plague our communities are too many to name? And so I want to leave you all with this today. I want to leave you all, the organizers, with this today. These are just a few words that are amended from sacred texts. The hope of organizing and building power is that there is good news for the poor, that there is freedom for black and brown students at the mercy of a system that overly polices them in their own schools. There is freedom on the horizon.
Yes, there is. There gotta
Those
be.
who are sick are bound to recover without excess bills. Freedom is on its way.
Yes, yes.
And so I urge those in power to bring the New York Health Act to the floor today.
Yes, yes, yes.
To pass the housing bills that our community needs, and let's ensure the safety of our children. So let's say that one more time. Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight. Human right. Fight, fight, fight.
Fight, fight, fight. All right. Thank you, everybody. And now I'm thrilled to introduce 3 more elected champions for housing and healthcare justice. Senator Jessica Ramos, Assembly Member Kenny Burgos, and Assembly Member Marcela Mityanes.
All right, how's everybody doing? Buenas tardes, my name's Jessica Ramos. I'm from Jackson Heights, Queens, like Desi's rising up and moving over here, my neighbors. And we are here to stand in solidarity with all of you, but to demand action from the state legislature to move on the New York Health Act and on good cause eviction today. There's never been a bigger catastrophe that has destabilized our lives, that has completely upended whatever security net, whatever safety net we were able to cajole for ourselves. Now, my office gets hundreds of phone calls from neighbors who are on the verge of eviction, who are scared to lose their home, who have to make choices between feeding their family, paying their medical debt, paying their rent, and paying the rest of their bills. Meanwhile, we see that we have more billionaires in New York State than ever before. Not only do we have more billionaires, they have more than doubled their wealth in New York State the past 2 years. We are being left to fend for ourselves while billionaires are able to enjoy more houses, more cars, more luxury, while our families get more hunger, less housing, and less health care.
That ain't right!
You betcha that ain't right, and it's something that we need to fix right here in the halls of power as soon as possible. I ran on the New York Health Act. I'm the co-prime sponsor of the bill. I'm a huge supporter of Senator Salazar's good cause eviction bill because I'm a renter too. And I have actually no idea on my salary when I'll be able to catch up on my bills as a single mom and be able to buy a first home for myself.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. It's not right. It's not right for any member of any generation, but particularly ours, for millennials, for Zoomers. It has become increasingly hard for us to figure out how it is that we're going to live. We can't live. The point of work should be to not only survive, but thrive. Be able to save for a rainy day like today. So thank you. Thank you all for coming out here today. I hope that our leadership hears you loud and clear, and that we begin to call these bills for a vote this week. Thank you.
Good morning. Are we ready for the second half of the legislative session? Are we ready for the second half of the legislative session? Well, listen, I think a poll came out this week from Siena saying that New Yorkers' #1 focus is public safety. Well, this is a public safety rally because housing justice and healthcare justice is public safety. We cannot expect public safety without housing people. We cannot expect public safety without giving people health care. It is just not comprehensible. We have to have both. We need both this session. Now, we go back to the COVID-19 pandemic, and during that time, we decided we have to give vaccines and testings free, without documentation, without health insurance, because we realized that it was a crisis. We realized a crisis required no means testing, no barriers. Well, is it not a crisis when our New Yorkers are not insured? Is it not a crisis when New Yorkers need insulin, have diabetes, high blood pressure, are forced for eviction? These are all crises that require solutions. And we have two right now. We have two with a majority sponsorship. The New York Health Act and good cause eviction. And we're here today to say we are passing it this session.
Good afternoon. I am Assemblymember Marcela Matenas. I am the first immigrant indigenous Peruvian in the state legislature. And I was evicted of the home that I shared with my family for over 30 years.
That ain't right! That ain't right!
That set me on a path. What we're not talking about is the trauma that's inflicted on our families, our seniors, our children, and our community when someone gets evicted. I took that opportunity to learn and understand that there are laws that exist that allow this to happen. And I came to Albany to fight for the tenants and be a voice. Housing is a foundation. You cannot build unless you have a solid foundation. If you're sick, where are you going to get well?
That's right. Tell him.
This is very personal to me. Seeing my neighbors displaced, seniors that have lived for 10, 20, sometimes 30 years in an unregulated unit are suddenly being evicted and they don't understand why. Add to that my community is being gentrified. Let's not forget that we live in a capitalist society that prioritizes the rights of property owners over tenants. This is not the first time we come up to something like this. This has always been a David and Goliath fight. We cannot match the money of the real estate industry, but we have something much more powerful. We have the people. This cannot be a political decision. My colleagues, the ones that aren't here, may I remind you that tomorrow we have to go back to our districts, and this is a year we're asking to be re-elected. We cannot go back and ask the same people that are being evicted to vote for us. Let's get this done. Let's get this done now. Let's pass good cause. Let's pass the New York Health Act. Let's go!
Thank you so much. I think we are in a really powerful moment to have so many champions for justice in the state legislature. And we have, 5 weeks to finish the people's business. Next up, I want to invite up, she is a registered nurse at Columbia Memorial Hospital with $11.99 SEIU, one of the largest healthcare unions on the East Coast, Karen Renee Roberts.
Housing is a human right. Housing is a human
right. Fight, fight, fight. Housing is a human right. Fight, fight, fight.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here, supporting a very, very important cause. I did not become a nurse to fight with insurance companies, but to get patient treatment. Healthcare is a fundamental right, as is a roof over your head and food to eat. That is the fundamental reason that we need the Health Care Act. My name is Karen Renee Roberts, and I've been a psychiatric RN for almost 40 years, approximately 25 years at CMH, Columbia Memorial. I'm also a delegate to 1199 SEIU. This esteemed body is in support of healthcare for all because right now we have a system that is set up to deny care to many.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
In the early days, I did feel as though I was helping people, and we were able to provide a more complete level of care. Local physicians focused on primary care, and hospitals were the place for the more urgent or acutely serious care. It did work for most, but not for all. It's time to remedy that.
That's right.
Now we have a system where medical decisions are made by people with no health care training that is totally profit-driven. And this system eliminates anyone who does not generate profit.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
This makes the healthcare system so much more convoluted for patients. Patients must navigate a maze to get care. And if they do get it, it can sometimes bankrupt them.
That ain't right.
Patients are denied care because insurance often does not pay for the level of care that is needed, including psychiatric care. And folks, mental health is health.
That's right.
There are just not enough resources, even for those with insurance, as benefits are often capped. It means people in crisis cannot receive immediate treatment because we have to wade through the process of authorization while the person deteriorates in a crisis center.
That ain't right.
Healthcare is a fundamental right, and as someone who has experienced healthcare in Canada and Europe, it is a great feeling to receive quality care and not have to worry about the cost or the payment.
That's right. That's right.
It's very hard for me to imagine that we are not yet there.
In America.
So we need to keep fighting, and we keep imagining a day where without health care bills. And we need to remember that all we are demanding is the same that so many others across the world already have. And that's the fundamental right to high quality health care. I have worked for many years with a colleague who lost her son because the healthcare system failed him and he committed suicide. That is definitely not damn right.
Not right. Not right.
Thank you.
Next up, I am very excited to introduce two more assembly members that have been champions for healthcare and housing justice, especially as we enter this final phase of the legislative session. Assemblymember Farah Sufrant Forrest and Assemblymember Jessica Gonzalez Rojas.
Hi, everybody. How are we feeling? A little cold, but I'm fired up by your energy. I have been a relentless advocate for health justice my entire career. And I say this all the time, but I am driven by the words of Audre Lorde every single day in this work. There's no such thing as a single issue struggle because we do not live single issue lives. So we know the struggle for health justice is also the struggle for housing justice.
That's right.
These issues are inextricably linked. And not only are the solutions inextricably linked, we know the problems are inextricably linked. We know that capitalism and greed of insurance companies and landlords and developers have put us in this position that we're in right now. And we have to dismantle those systems. And I'm so proud to fight for these bills. And I am exhausted that we're here year after year after year after year fighting. And I'm brand new. I've been here just 15 months, and already I'm exhausted. Because as others have said, I ran on the New York Health Act. I've seen the harms of eviction in my community. In Queens, the legal service agencies said they were not taking any more eviction clients to help because there's too many cases. That ain't right. That ain't right. We need to protect our neighbors. We need to make sure they're housed and they're healthy. And we have to do this now. It is a moral imperative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. So, I want to say a big I told you so. I told you so because when I ran, I said healthcare is housing and housing is healthcare. They were out there like, Farrah, you need to stay in your lane, nurse. You need to stay in your lane, registered nurse. What you out there talking about housing? What you getting activated about tenants? Well, let me tell you, when you have a nurse walking into people's homes, bringing care, bringing love, bringing professionalism, and you walk in through the door and you're like, wait, we live in the same way, boo. We sharing the same housing struggle. The reason why you forming a tenant association is the same reason why I'm forming a tenant association.
Yes,
Because at the end of the day, we have a government that says profits over people.
Talk about it.
You say that there's a New York State that is open for business. But what about patients? What about tenants? We are the majority.
Yes.
And so, at the end of the day, when I walk into that door and I see a commonality, that's when I gotta say, no, I need to stop putting band-aids. I need to run. I need to stop putting do patchwork. I need to run and represent and stand up and say, we, the tenants, are in government today. And we ain't leaving because we're not about to be evicted from the Capitol.
That's right.
We are not leaving until we see the real people of New York. Tenants need to be up in Capitol.
Yes.
And that's why we are here today. Housing. Healthcare is housing. Housing is healthcare. Healthcare is housing. Housing is healthcare. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assembly members. And now I'm thrilled to introduce another advocate who has been here in the fight for housing justice, Janat Thalkuder from Drum.
Sorry, her name is Janat Talukdar. And she will speak in Bangla and I will interpret.
শুভ দুপুর আমি জিনাত তালুকদার গ্রাম দেশি রাইজিং আপ অ্যান্ড মুভিং এর একজন সদস্য। আজ আমি এখানে বুটকজের দাবি নিয়ে এখানে এসেছি কারণ একজন অভিবাসী শ্রমজীবী মানুষ হিসেবে এদেশে ভাড়াটিয়াদের যে ধরনের হয়রানি ও নির্যাতনের মধ্য দিয়ে যেতে হয় এবং ভাড়াটিয়া বাড়িওয়ালাদের মধ্যে যে ধরনের বৈষম্য কাজ করে তা আমি এবং আমার পরিবার একটা জ্বলন্ত উদাহরণ।
Good afternoon. I am Janat Talukdar. I am a member of DRAM, Desh is Rising Up and Moving. Today I am here for the demand of good cause because as an immigrant, as an representative of working class people in this country, the tenants face lot of harassments and oppression, and the tenants and the landlords have lot of discrimination. Me and my family is the one of the live example.
আজ থেকে 15 বছর আগে আমার স্বামী তার বাড়িওয়ালা মাত্র 3 ঘন্টার নোটিশে বাড়ি থেকে উচ্ছেদ করতে বাধ্য হয়েছিল। ওই সময় উনি একা একটা বেসমেন্টে থাকতেন, কোনো কারণ ছাড়াই তাকে ওই সময় বাড়ি ছাড়তে হয়েছিল। প্রায় 1 মাস উনি এক প্রকার গৃহহীন হয়ে থাকতে হয়েছিল।
15 years ago, my husband got a eviction notice only for 3 years, and he was bound to evicted from that house. That time he was alone and he lived in a basement. Without any cause, the landlord bound to leave that house, and almost 1 month he was homeless. As a new immigrant, my
একজন নতুন অভিবাসী হিসেবে তখন তিনি দুর্বিষহ অবস্থার মধ্যে গিয়েছিলেন। তিনি ওই সময় নিউ ইয়র্কের কোনো রাস্তাঘাট চিনতেন না, এমনকি তার কোনো পরিবার পরিজনও ছিল না। এই অবস্থা সহ্য করতে না পেরে তিনি রাস্তায় দাঁড়ে দাঁড়ে কেঁদে ঘুরে বেড়িয়েছেন।
As a new immigrant, he had no friends and family members here. Even he does not knew the path of the New York, and so he was intolerable on that situation. He was about to cry on that situation.
কিন্তু আজ 15 বছর পরেও পরিস্থিতি কি খুব বদলে গেছে?
I just want to ask the question, it's after 15 years, but the situation is changed or not?
না, একটুও বদলায়নি। এই তো 2 বছর আগে গত মহামারীতে আমার বাড়িওয়ালার মালিক 130 টাকা ভাড়া বাড়িয়ে নোটিশ পাঠায়, কিন্তু ওই অতিরিক্ত ভাড়া অস্বীকার করে আমি দিতে অপারগ হই, তার জন্য আমাকে 1000 টাকা ফাইন ধরে।
No, it does not change anything. Last 2 years ago in the pandemic, I got a notice from my landlord. They want to increase $130 in a month. I just disagreed on that. I did not, because I was not able to pay that. Then they fined me $1,000. If I was not paid that money, then they give me eviction later.
কিন্তু আমি দীর্ঘ 13 বছর যাবত ওই বাসাতেই আছি। আমার শত কষ্টের মধ্যেও কখনো ভাড়া বাকি রাখি নাই।
I lived in a house last 13 years. I never unpaid my rent.
আপনারাই বলেন, মহামারীর সময়ে যখন মানুষ বাঁচা নিয়ে যুদ্ধ, খাবার নেই, চাকরি নেই, তখন ওই পরিস্থিতি থেকে এইভাবে ভাড়া বৃদ্ধি করা কি এটা ন্যায়সঙ্গত কাজ হয়েছে?
I just ask you all people, in the pandemic we have no job, no food, we are just surviving. In that situation, landlord increased our rent. Is that justice?
No!
হ্যাঁ, এটা অন্যায়। বাড়িওয়ালারা বিশেষ করে বড় বড় রিয়েল এস্টেট যখন খুশি করে তাদের ইচ্ছা মতো বাসা ভাড়া বৃদ্ধি করে যখন তখন উচ্ছেদের নোটিশ দেয়, এটা মেনে নেওয়া যায় না। আজ আমরা রাস্তায় নেমেছি কারণ এটাই আমাদের একমাত্র উপায়। আমাদের টাকা নেই, কিন্তু আমাদের জনবল আছে। আমরা শ্রমজীবী মানুষ, আমাদের একমাত্র শক্তি আমাদের একতা, আমাদের যুদ্ধ।
Yes, it's injustice. Landlords, especially the big corporation real estate, they just do whatever they wanted. They increase their rents whenever they wanted. They send us eviction notice whenever they wanted. We don't want to tolerate this. We are in the street because this is our only way. We have no money, but we have the manpower. We are the working class, and this is our only the power that we are together. We are united.
ধন্যবাদ। মেহনতি মানুষের জয় হোক। ইনকিলাব জিন্দাবাদ।
Thank you, everyone. I just want to say that the working peoples has to be the victory, and Inkilab Jindabad.
Thank you, Jinat, for sharing your story. Next up, we have one of the biggest advocates for healthcare justice, who's organizing for the New York Health Act in upstate New York, Mohini Sharma from Metro Justice.
Hi everyone. So I'm here from Rochester, New York today, fighting for the New York Health Act because my recent miscarriage cost me nearly $1,000. And I'm still in debt for it. Miscarriage is a deeply emotionally and physically grueling experience for a lot of people. And many have more than one. The least our healthcare system could do is make the care we need as easy to access as possible. Because the experience is frankly traumatic enough as it is. But no. Instead, insurance companies like mine have decided that miscarriages don't count as routine prenatal care. And therefore isn't covered until I pay my $3,200 deductible. For a plan that already costs $535 a month anyway. subsidize for-profit healthcare, CEOs and shareholders of insurance companies think that it's okay for them to pocket millions of dollars off of treating us as if our bodies stop mattering once we're not carrying a child anymore. These companies get to kick us when we're down all the time, by putting a price tag on our suffering. Isn't that cruel?
Yes.
That's downright cruel.
Yes.
Cruelty should not be profitable. Not in healthcare, not in housing, not anywhere. And it's time that we fight back. There is no justice without the New York Health Act. And the only way that we are ever going to get the justice that we deserve is to fight back together, and fight back hard. And I hope that all of you stay in this fight with me until we win, because we don't stop until we win. Enough is enough.
What are we gonna do? All right, and to close us out, I will introduce our last group of elected leaders. Assembly Member Joe Ann Simon, Assembly Member Linda Rosenthal, and Senator Jabari Brisport.
Thank you very much. You've been out here a long time, and now it's raining, so I understand, and I'm going to be brief. You know, I ran for the Assembly in 2014, and one of the first bills I got on was the New York Health Act. I've been promoting and supporting the New York Health Act ever since that time. Because it is so critically important, and you've heard from people whose stories tell you just how important that is. And there are so many more other stories that we haven't heard that will tell us how important the New York Health Act is. So it is, I would love to pass that this year. I would love to send Assemblymember Gottfried to retire knowing he has accomplished the New York Health Act. Can we do that? So it's important for all of us, and we really need to respect and admire the leadership of Assemblymember Gottfried, who brought us to this point. I know that with my colleagues here and others, hi, how are you? We will continue to fight for this. So it's about health justice, and also, of course, you're here for housing justice, good cause eviction. I am one of those people who was a renter for decades without any protections. And I do understand that position. I was one of the lucky ones who had a good landlord, but I know so many other people do not. And so I am here to lend my support and my vote for good cause eviction. And then I will hand this off to my colleagues who are standing out in the rain. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal. I represent the Upper West Side, parts of Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. And I am so excited to be here, even though it is in the rain, because we are out here demanding that the state legislature, of which we are a part, take care of people's housing concerns and health care concerns, and they are one and the same. A woman came to my office last week. She is a non-regulated tenant. She moved in during the pandemic. Her lease is now up. Her landlord said, here's a new lease, but you have to pay $2,000 more per month. That ain't right. And also, the woman cannot afford that. If she had good eviction protection, she would not be in this predicament. And her predicament is one that tenants are facing across the state. Tenants in New York City face a possible 9% increase in their rent-stabilized rent per year.
That ain't right.
Tenants are in housing court in New York City without attorneys, even though the law requires them to have one.
That ain't right.
Tenants are in big trouble across the state, and we need to protect them, and we will do our best to protect them and pass good cause eviction. But for those who don't have health care, it's even more serious, because a screened for cancer delayed means someone could end up with stage 4 cancer and there would be no hope for them. A mother who takes care of her children needs health care. Someone, like we heard so eloquently, who's experienced a miscarriage should not have to pay for that suffering. There is so much good in the New York Health Act, and Dick Gottfried deserves this as a send-off. And all of us deserve to have health care protection. So let's keep fighting. There's still 5 weeks left to do this. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's State Senator Brisport from Brooklyn. Thank you for being out here. Do you believe that housing is a human right? Yes! Do you believe that health care is a human right? Yes! Now, do you believe people should profit off of your rights? No! Do you believe that capitalism should infect your rights? No! We've had a lot of great speakers, a lot of my incredible colleagues out here. Incredible progressive legislators, incredible socialist legislators. I do want to say I wish there were more out here standing with us today. There are 150 members of the New York State Assembly. There are 63 members of the New York State Senate. I wish there were more out here today. Yeah. Because you heard Assemblymember Pam Hunter earlier saying they're spending, what, over $1 million to fight against good cause eviction? That profit-seeking motive, they profit off of your housing, they profit off of your health care, and then they take that money, turn around, and buy off politicians. That ain't right. So we need more of our legislators to stand together and fight to make sure that we pass good cause eviction this year, not next year, this year. Yeah. That we pass the New York Health Act this year, not next year. And I know we got a great coalition from around the state, but I do want to give a special shout out. I see the yellow shirts from the Northwest Bronx. So respectfully, to my colleague Assemblymember Michael Benedetto, I know you met with them 42 days ago and said you wanted more time to review the bill. It has been 42 days. It is not a long bill. We have very little time left. We need you to follow through on your public pledge, review the bill, get back to us. We need to pass good cause eviction. And regardless of where he stands, regardless where anybody stands, we know where we stand. We know where we stand morally, politically, and we know that when we stand together and we fight together, we win. When we fight, 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 we win. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, and we actually have one final speaker. We're going to close out with an advocate from Make the Road New York. Where's Maria? All right, give it up for Maria.
United, we never be defeated. United, we never be defeated. Jamás será vencido.
Se hace camino a Nueva York y quiero compartir mi experiencia como inquilina. Vine al Bronx cuando tenía 27 años. He sido inquilina no regulada durante los últimos 17 años. He pasado casi la mitad de mi vida en este vecindario. Es mi hogar. Sin embargo, en los últimos años, sé que muchos vecinos y seres queridos han tenido que irse porque la renta aumenta más y más cada día. Es inasequible. A mi hermana, que también es una inquilina no regulada y reside del Bronx, le aumentaron la renta en $400, lo que significó un desalojo para ella. Fue un aumento del 30% que no podía pagar, pero ella tuvo la suerte de encontrar otra unidad. Pero sabemos que no todos son tan afortunados de encontrar un lugar para vivir y muchos terminan teniendo que irse del vecindario, del estado o enfrentarse a falta de vivienda. Yo misma estuve viviendo en un apartamento no regulado hace algunos años. Este espacio estaba en condiciones horribles. El propietario no hacía mantenimiento
no traía exterminadores para tratar las ratas que andaban por todo el edificio. Era terrible. Aunque nuestro espacio actual es más limpio, aún enfrentamos problemas de reparaciones y mantenimiento con nuestro arrendador actual, quien se frustra cuando solicitamos reparaciones. Por ejemplo, recientemente tuvimos un derrame de agua en el techo de nuestro baño, que creó un hoyo y dañó los gabinetes. Se tardó medio mes en completar reparaciones, incluso solo puso parches. Cuando preguntamos si podían actualmente cambiar los gabinetes, dijeron que aumentarían la renta. Y dado que no somos inquilinos regulados, sé que no hay límite para este aumento. Es una sensación horrible tener miedo de pedirle al propietario o al súper reparaciones críticas por temor a ser desalojado, por aumento de renta irrazonable. Temo que mi esposo y yo eventualmente seamos desplazados. Si nuestros funcionarios electos continúan respaldando el desarrollo del lujo a empresas de los derechos básicos de inquilinos, nosotros somos el corazón del Bronx. Y esa preocupación creció cuando vi lo que pasó con el presupuesto estatal de este año. El presupuesto de este año le falló a nuestras comunidades. Merecemos protecciones de vivienda, porque la vivienda es un derecho humano y atención médica también es un derecho humano. Cobertura para todos habría brindado seguro médico a todos los neoyorquinos de bajos ingresos, independientemente de su estatus migratorio. Pero continuaremos luchando esta sesión legislativa para pasar la ley de salud de Nueva York, para mejorar acceso a salud para todos los neoyorquines y hasta que aprobemos protecciones permanentemente como buena causa, para darnos el poder de exigir condiciones seguras sin temor a represalias y evitar aumentos de rentas injustas. Todos merecemos vivir en un hogar seguro y asequible. Todos merecemos acceso seguro médico sin importar nuestro estatus migratorio. Debemos pasar buena causa y la ley de salud de Nueva York. Es la sesión legislativa. Gracias.
¡Inquilinos unidos jamás serán vencidos! ¡Inquilinos unidos jamás serán vencidos!
I'll be interpreting for Maria. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maria Luis Alberto, and I live with my husband in the Bronx. I am a member of Make the Road New York, and I want to share what my experience has been like as a tenant. I came to the Bronx when I was 27 years old. I have been a community member and unregulated tenant here for the past 17 years. I've spent almost half of my life in this neighborhood. It is my home. However, over the past couple of years, I know that so many of my members and loved ones have been forced to leave. My sister, who has also been an unregulated tenant and lived in an apartment in the Bronx, had her rent increased by $400, which meant an eviction for her. This was a 30% increase that she could not afford.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
And she was lucky enough to find a unit in the building I live in now. But we know that not everyone is as fortunate to find a place to live, and many end up needing to leave the state or face homelessness. I myself was living in an unregulated apartment for years. This space was in horrible condition. The landlord did no maintenance, refused to bring in exterminators to address the rats that roam the entire building, and the appliances were old and in poor condition, needing repairs to be totally replaced. While our current space is cleaner, we still face repair and maintenance problems with our current landlord, who gets frustrated when we ask for critical repairs. Like, for example, the leaking in our bathroom ceiling that created a hole and completely damaged the cabinets from the water leaking.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. That took half a month to get the ceilings and the cabinets repaired, and even then, they were just patches. When we asked if they could actually get the cabinets changed, they said it would increase our rent, and since we're unregulated, I know there's no limit to that potential increase. I fear my husband and I will eventually be displaced if our policies and elected officials continue to favor luxury development at the expense of our communities, which are the heart of the Bronx. And that concern has grown when I saw what happened with the state budget this year. This year's budget failed our communities. We deserve housing protections because housing is a human right, and health care is also a human right. Coverage for all would have provided health insurance to all low-income New Yorkers, regardless of immigration status. But we will continue to fight this session to pass the New York Health Act, to improve access to health care for all New Yorkers, and to pass permanent housing protections like good cause, to give us the power to demand safe conditions without fear of retaliations. We all deserve to live in a safe, affordable home, and we all deserve access to health care, regardless of our immigration status. We must pass good cause and the New York Health Act this legislative session. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. All right, well, that concludes our press conference. We've been standing out here for over an hour, out here in the rain and the cold, in order to let the people that make the laws in our state know.
Yeah, wake up!
We are out here and our voices will be heard. All right, now let's conclude with some final chants. When I say good cause, you say now. Good cause!
No!
Good cause!
No!
Good cause!
No!
Good cause!
No!
When I say healthcare, you say justice. Healthcare!
Justice!
Healthcare!
Justice!
Healthcare!
Justice!
Healthcare!
Justice!
All right, y'all, we are going to head inside the legislative office building to meet with our elected officials and make our voices heard. Whitney and Sia, can y'all raise your hands? Here's Whitney. There's Sia. We're going to follow them inside. Thank you all so very much.